in that standard format. Earthquake, Elspeth Knight Errant, Goblin Assault, Hallowed Burial, Lightning Bolt, Martial Coup, Obelisk of Alara, Path to Exile, and Volcanic Fallout were his cards. That was a fun deck.
That was a fun deck.
To watch him just be like Goblin Guide.
Yeah, I would be so disappointed.
After that build-up.
No, I see a Dark Blast and a Tide Hollow Skeller, so I think we're going to have some awesome stuff going on here.
And Dark Blast, is he going to go right to work?
I think so. Boom.
Get your bird and whatever you play next turn too, and you can't really see. I mean, it'd be nice if we could see his graveyard as he dredged those things up. Oh, there's a Aethersworn Canonist from Martin JUZA. So this is probably Malira project here.
Yes.
From Martin.
This is definitely Malira.
We see a Birthing Pod, a Swamp, a Gavoni Township.
And he already pitched the card. I didn't get a chance to see what it was. He just dropped it in his graveyard and he was cast.
Was it a Malira?
I do not know. I think one of the interesting things is that Birthing Pod, everybody thinks it costs 3.
Yeah.
It feels like it costs 3. At Magic Online, like, you Inquisition your opponent, they have a Birthing Pod, and you're, like, clicking on it, and you're like, why is this not working?
Look at their graveyard. Look at their graveyards pushed somewhere where we can see them because they're playing, like...
JUZA dropping down to 18 here, testing that Birthing Pod with the Phyrexian mana cost. Very dangerous for him to have that Birthing Pod in play with any creature.
Yeah.
But it looks like Mark doesn't have access to white mana right now. So.
Players who signed up for Booster Draft number 10, your event is ready. Please come to the event stage. Booster Draft number 10.
That's the wrong graveyard.
Yeah.
There it is. All right.
Oh, so it was a Visarcia, yeah. Kind of a big deal card in this matchup.
And it's one of 3 pieces to this combo.
So how exactly does the combo work? You want to walk people through what happens?
Okay, so Malira prevents -1/-1 counters from being put on your creatures. So with Persist, when the creature comes back, it does not come back with a -1/-1 counter. So what you do
a card like the Kitchen Finks that is getting searched up right here.
Yes, a card like Kitchen Finks, or a card like Murderous Redcap. Both those cards not only have Persist, but also have abilities when they come into play. So if you are able to sacrifice a Kitchen Finks to a Visarcia, for example, when you have a Malira in play, it will simply come back and you'll gain 2 life. So you can sacrifice it a few billion times and gain double the amount of times you sacrifice it in life.
Which would be double infinite life.
Double infinite life, correct. If you do the same with a Murderous Redcap, your opponent dies. Conveniently, because you're doing this with a Visarcia, you're able to stack your deck.
Right. So if you get one, you get the other.
Yes.
I remember when we were, what event were we preparing for? And you were very, very excited about doing sort of Kitchen Fink Murderous Redcap tricks with it was like the Juniper Order Ranger or something like that.
Oh, Pro Tour Hollywood?
Was that Pro Tour Hollywood? Yeah.
Yeah. I ended up having to play against that deck. After I tested it into the ground and found out it was terrible, I played against it in round 2 of the Pro Tour.
Did it get you?
Yeah, it beat me, obviously.
Did you ever see Liliana of the Veil come down for Mark?
Wait, that's a Raven's Crime in Mark's hand here. Ooh, and Liliana used to make that Kitchen Finks into a 2/1. And Mark's not going to like what he sees here because the Gavony Township is going to take that -1/-1 counter right off.
Well, yeah, he knows that's coming. He
saw it, yeah.
He saw it. Right, so +1/+1 counter and a -1/-1 counter.
Yeah,
just,
it's a push.
They evaporate.
Mm-hmm. And I like that rule. It used to get pretty confusing.
It's like the same thing happens if you high-five your evil twin.
You both just
disappear.
dissipate.
Yeah. So you can't take anything with Inquisition. Now we see a Raven's Crime. Discard one of your cards.
signups on a standard winner box.
Martin plays Ranger of Eos.
Signing up Mini Masters, Twisted Draft, and regular Boosted Draft. Also taking signups for our 5 o'clock Modern Challenge. Win free entry to GP Columbus and Philadelphia.
So Ranger of Eos gets a Noble Hierarch.
And a Viserys here.
Yeah.
One of the really cool parts about Ranger of Eos in this deck is, I mean, it searches for one of the combo pieces. It's also nice because with the Birthing Pod, you can sacrifice something that costs 3 and get your combo piece that costs 1.
Right.
And then what's nice is then you also get another card that costs 1, which then you can sacrifice to the Birthing Pod to get the Malira.
Right.
So
So
Ranger
now
of
we're
Eos
going
solves the whole chain.
So now we're going to get a 5 with the Birthing Pod.
Players for a Twisted
Which I'm
Draft.
going to assume is Revelark?
Yeah, probably a Revelark. There have been some players recently on Magic Online playing with a Baneslayer Angel in their decks too.
It's like, oh, you think you know what's coming?
You're dead. Surprisingly good.
Yeah.
Cloud Thresher has made some appearances in Malira decks recently. Everybody's so focused on trying to stop you from comboing that they forget that you can just play really dangerous dudes and beat you.
Yeah, Mark's like, I've got a handful of Raven's Crimes and Virtual Raven Crimes and a Lightning Helix. I cannot really do anything to anything here.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of that game, he had both Tide Hollow Scholars that were in his opening hand, a Lightning Helix that he had drawn on turn 2. He just never drew any white land.
Right. So he's playing red, white, black. What do we think he's doing? Do you think he's playing like, is he playing like a Seismic Assault or a Burning Vengeance?
Maybe a Burning Vengeance.
Yeah, Burning
really
Vengeance,
cool.
Raven's Crime.
Yeah.
And he's got a little
Maybe
bit of
even,
a, maybe even a Life from Rome.
maybe
don't know.
green mana too. We only saw red and black.
And that is Mark. That's the same guy, for sure.
Definitely
Jacob
the same
remembers
guy.
the face
Yes,
very
I
well.
remember him.
Jake Van Lunen's nemesis, if you're joining us late. He basically derailed Jake's career.
I guess so, right? Like, I never really thought about it that way. Yeah, you know, I've only been off the Pro Tour for a couple months, and then I decided to, like, make the trip to Nationals with Chris, and then, like, I was, you know, playing for Undefeated on day 1. Really thought I was going to top 8.
Yeah, you looked like as locked in as I'd ever seen you at a tournament.
I think that was the most focused and best I've ever played in a tournament.
Yeah. And the hood.
I had the hood.
Yeah.
Man, I was like Jedi'd out. I need to get that fired.
Also looking for one player for a Commander event.
And then Mark Hendrickson ruined it for me.
Yep.
He just took a big bucket of like flame retardant foam and dumped it all over your head.
Yep, that's pretty much what happened. Oh my goodness.
It's good that you have a good sense of humor.
Yeah, I mean it was kind of funny. I mean there were some other like fun things that happened at that tournament though. Like Kithkin was an unwinnable matchup for me in Constructing.
Right.
And I got paired against Melissa and lost to Kithkin, and it was like kind of tilted because nobody was playing Kithkin in the tournament.
Right.
And it was very rare that I would get paired up against it. And then the next round I get paired up against Paul Reitzel, who was also playing Kithkin.
Oh my gosh.
And I knew he was playing Kithkin, and I was just a little frustrated from the round before. And I draw my opening hand, and there's a Still Moon Cavalier in my opening hand, which was in my sideboard. And this is game 1. So I call a judge, and I'm like, I didn't de-sideboard. And I called the judge and myself, so everything was fine. Like, it wasn't a big deal. The judge was like, all right, de-sideboard, you're on a forced mulligan to 6. Which I think is a pretty light ruling, all things considered.
Wow. Wait, so you got to play game 1?
I got to play game 1, which I don't even necessarily agree with that.
Yeah, that's...
But, I mean, I did call the judge and myself immediately. Like, there was, like, no time between anything.
Yeah.
And Paul was actually pretty cool about it, and pretty kind in saying,
Paul is someone who would call a judge on himself.
Yeah. Paul was like, you know, he drew his opening 7, and, like, before he even saw another card in his opening hand, he called the judge on himself.
Right.
And the judges all came over and were like, all right, you know, but you're just going to be a forced mulligan at 6. And I'm playing against my worst matchup on a forced mulligan, and I just crushed him. I felt so bad after he was so nice, like, and he like knew it was an awesome matchup, probably why he was being so nice. Like,
how'd those Stillmoon Cavaliers treat you game 2 against him?
Oh, I drew 3 in my opening hand in game 2.
Yeah.
That was pretty clutch.
Yeah, I was pretty excited. Like, and I just, I'm like, that's awesome. That card's great against him.
Yeah, that's what's so crazy about it. Like, I was like, in my opening hand, oh no.
Players who signed up for Twisted Draft number 2, please assemble at the event stage. Your event is ready. Twisted Draft 2 to the event stage, please.
Martin's another player who's long crossed the Hall of Fame threshold. It's, you know, I think the leading throw point holder from the Czech Republic.
Martin's somebody who's just been doing well for so long now.
And so self-deprecating about it.
And Martin's going to be forced to mulligan in this hand.
No, no one's forcing him.
Just a swamp for mana.
He could have kept it.
I assume he's only playing one basic swamp in that deck.
You signed up for Commander number 12. Your event is ready. Please come up to the event stage.
Mark's keeping here.
Commander number 12 is now ready.
And I see a white, if not a white mana source, and access to a white land there. So I've been flying all morning. Did you see anything that happened from Grand Prix Kobe? Our good friend Steve Sadin and Nate Price were doing coverage from there.
I have not seen what's been going on over in Kobe. I did mention to the audience, though, that they can find awesome written coverage. 2 of the best in the biz, Nate Price and Steve Sadin, over there in Japan, giving us coverage.
I mean, 2 of the 3rd and 4th best in the biz. I mean, come on.
Obviously.
There's a
Relic of Virginitas.
I knew it was one of them. I'm like, wait, is that? No, it's not. Is it? No, is it?
And the Relic of Virginitas, pretty strong here. It's if he has 1 mana open, he can break up the combo.
Right. And he can just like force you to keep like nerfing a card. So even without having to like lose the relic, you can make it really, really kind of tiresome for Martin to get around it.
Ooh, and this is a very tight mana base for Mark Hendrickson. You know, he's playing cards like Blood Crypt and things like that, and at the same time he wants to be casting Tide Hollow Sculler, so he plays Fetid Heat.
Oh, wow.
That makes a lot of sense.
Well, I mean, if you look at his list from at Nationals, it was all, multicolored lands and crazy stuff. And Dark Confidant.
That's a good card.
Have you seen much of that card in the early rounds?
We saw Raphael Levy play it the turn before he died, and we saw Ethan Pollinger play it the turn before he died.
Okay.
That's about it.
So this doesn't bode well.
Not so far, this does not bode well. Alright, so after the Confidant trigger, Mark continuing to develop. Now, even with the Smilyra in play, Mark doesn't really have to feel like he's in that much danger. The Relic and the Empty Graveyard of Martin. I mean, it's not looking very good for Martin.
Bob attacks. When we say Bob, we mean Dark Confidant.
Yeah,
it's Bob Maher's invitational card.
The Great One.
The Great
That's
One,
what he likes to call him. If you want to watch a great match of Magic, you can watch Bob Maher play against John Finkel.
Sure. That was on ESPN. Way back in the day. There's another Dark Confidant after the Smilyra trades.
And if I'm Martin, I'm really happy to take that trade.
Yeah, Maelstrom Pulse. Seems a little aggressive to me.
To attack with that Confidant in the first place?
Yeah.
I agree. I mean, he's probably thinking to himself, well, that Malira's like the linchpin combo piece. The deck I'm playing against is called Malira. It's not going to block with that card, but, I mean, you have a Dark Confidant.
You're not going to let a Dark Confidant run around unchecked.
You know, sometimes when your opponent's at 6 and they have a Dark Confidant play, you're thinking to yourself, like, oh, I can let it live because it's going to kill them. But the one time you do that, you learn that you're never, ever, ever going to do that again. You just cannot let that card stick around. It will beat you. And Mark's deck is much more well-equipped to use those Confidants effectively than the Jund decks we've been seeing Confidant.
Right.
Jund decks, you know, they have so many spells that cost like 3 and 4 mana. And, you know, Confidant's not made for 3 and 4 mana spells. Not just because it's going to deal you more damage, but...
Right. There we see a Kitchen Finks. Kind of a puzzle to get that card into play with this mana base.
Yes. You know, normally we're seeing Kitchen Finks cast off green mana, but, you know. And a Birthing Pod coming down, and Martin choosing to not pay the Phyrexian mana cost for that Birthing Pod. Saves himself 2 life there.
I'm still not really sure what Mark's deck.
It might just be like all the good black, red, and white cards. And Raven's Crime.
It's like everything that was left over after, Josh Arthur-Layton built his blue-green white deck.
Yeah, exactly. Like it literally is. It's like the good cards that aren't in all the decks everybody's playing. He's just like, well, nobody's playing all these good cards. Let me just shove them all in the same deck.
So, Path to Exile, your Hierarch, and Lightning Hail, it's your birds.
And Mark just recognizing that he just doesn't want anything that's a creature on the table when there's a Birthing Pod on the other side of the table. Wisely so. I mean, that Birthing Pod can get out of hand really, really quickly.
Right, and he still has the backup plan. Oh, he's tapped out here. You need 1 mana for the Relic, right? To be able to use it on a full yard.
Alright, so Mark activating that Relic. Just grinding out Martin's graveyard. Now he has an Engineer Explosives.
Yep.
Ooh, another Kitchen Finks too. Mark gaining even more life.
Daniel Noble.
And now putting Martin on a 2-turn clock.
Daniel Noble.
Martin can change that to a 3-turn clock by using a Maelstrom Pulse. But you never really want to use a Maelstrom Pulse to deal with Kitchen Finks.
Well, he's going to have to.
Yeah. Mark's going to go ahead and gain 4 life.
He might have to. He might have to use 2 Maelstrom Pulses to deal with 2.
Over the course of
2 turns and 4 life.
It's ugly, but it works. Ooh, that's an Orzhov Pontiff. It's an awesome card. When's the last time you saw an Orzhov Pontiff?
Probably the last time I drafted one.
Now, for those of you who don't know what this card is, it is from Guild Pact. It's a rare. It costs 1 white and a black, and it's a 1/1 with Haunt. When it comes into play, or when the creature it haunts leaves play, all creatures your opponents control get -1/-1, and all creatures you control get +1/+1. So it's kind of like it's similar to the Zealous Persecution we mentioned earlier.
One of those, right?
I think yes, you actually choose one of the
choose
modes.
one, yeah.
You choose a mode.
Yeah, it's not like Zealous Persecution.
Yeah, okay.
So it just got pathed, it looks like, immediately.
Sorry, I hadn't seen it in a while. It's a pretty obscure one.
Yeah.
Path to Exile coming down here. I mean, I think Martin, with that Birthing Pod in play, I'm not sure what his sideboard has to offer, but even just the Murderous Red Cap in his hand, once he draws the mana to cast it, that can become a 5, which is a Revelark.
Right.
But Revelark not that good when there's Relic Regenerator on the other side of the table. And you never know, maybe it's a Baneslayer Angel, which would be backbreaking.
Right, well, you talked about where some people were playing the Baneslayer in that 5 spot. You can see what it, it's like, oh, you're going to deal with my graveyard?
Yeah,
deal with
there
this.
you go. Good luck. Phyrexian Arena. Very nice card. Phyrexian Arena is a really, really powerful card that I've actually tried to play that card in Modern a few times now, without much success, but and Martin's going to go ahead and Maelstrom Pulse that immediately.
Second Birthing Pod for Martin.
That's going to let Martin do a lot of fun stuff once he gets another black mana. Ooh, and a Bird of Paradise. That Bird of Paradise can have a little party with those double Birthing Pod. Let's see what it becomes to begin with. Perhaps it will go from being a Spellskite to being a Harmonic Sliver, which can take care of that relic.
It looks like he's looking at a Kasali Pride Mage.
Ooh, Kasali Pride Mage seems nice. I think Kasali Pride... You'd much rather get rid of the relic with a Kasali Pride Mage than with the Harmonic Sliver, because when you're... or I guess you're not casting the Harmonic Sliver, so it's not a big deal. But, if you were to cast Harmonic Sliver with your Birthing Pods in play, and your opponent just had the relic, you just sacrifice the relic in response, then you'd be forced to kill one of your own pods. It's interesting because Martin has the option of, getting rid of that relic with his Kasali Prime Mage, but then he loses his guys to the Birthing Pod. I'm actually surprised that Martin doesn't have some sort of, just here's a gigantic fatty or two in my sideboard plan. That's something that Jerry Thompson was actually telling me about when I was playing Lyra. Saying like, oh, why don't you just play a Baneslayer Angel and a Cloud Thresher? And I was like, oh yeah, that's awesome.
Hendrickson just activates the relic at the end of the turn, takes a card.
Yeah, and in a somewhat grindy board state right now. The Phyrexian Arena would have broken this game open, but right now I'm still liking Martin's chances.
So would the had a Dark Confidant lived?
Yeah. You're right. If that Dark Confidant had not attacked,
the Malira wasn't that scary with the relic in play. Well, I guess you're fearful of something like this just happening. All right, sacrifices Seer and goes up.
And it looks like Martin's just going to do it the hard way. I'm just going to attack you with some random stuff.
It looks like he's going to get a Malira. Malira.
I apologize to her, in case we're mispronouncing her name. Yeah. She's an outcast, whatever.
And there's the harmonic slim. Oh, no. There's kitchen finks. So sacrifice, yeah, like you said, he's got 2 birthing pods going.
Yeah, he can just make his way up the chain
and also not only just make his way up the chain, but also like stock his graveyard to sort of maybe force Mark to commit.
Yeah, if Mark uses this relic, like now it's pretty tempting to use the relic. There's 2 Maliras in the graveyard. If Martin's playing one of the decks similar to the Magic Online list, he doesn't have another Malira in his deck.
Oh, interesting.
And I don't know if Mark knows that, but all the Magic Online deck lists of the Malira pod decks have 1 or 2 Maliras in them.
Right, but he does have Revelock, so he can always... Well,
he'll remove.
Yeah, except he'll be removed, yeah.
So, you never know. Martin's deck could be different. But I'm guessing it's not.
Attack for 5. Lava Claw reaches. Okay.
And he forces the relic swap. What is that?
Looking for 1 more player for a standard win-a-box. 1 more player for a commander event. Still signing up Mini-Master 8-player flights.
So you could just all but win on a Malira here, right?
Slowly filling up.
Yeah, with double pod in play.
Yeah.
Yeah, draft needs some more players, and we are taking
Right, you just turn kitchen. You're right. Just turn kitchen finks into Ranger. Go get your Viscera win.
If he does have another Malira in his deck, he can just win just off of this.
Right. So here's the Ranger of Eos, or is it the Murderous Redcap? Interesting.
That will tell us whether or not he has Malira still in his deck.
Murderous Redcap, kill your land.
Ooh. It's a spicy meatball. That's definitely right.
Do you respond here and kill the kitchen finks?
I guess so. You've been given an opportunity to.
Right. Except that he then's gonna just get turn the red cap into Revelar, and then the Revelar's just bringing back kitchen finks and red cap.
Please come up to the event stage.
Yeah, he does kill it with Dark Blast.
The Revelar can bring back the red cap, but not the...
Oh,
Finks.
right, you're right.
Yeah.
Finks was sort of set that way.
Yeah, I think they kind of like prevented that from happening. People still played them in the same decks all the time.
Yep.
That's why it's confusing.
Obstinate Bailoff.
How obstinate.
So, I mean, that's Obstinate Bailoff, sort of the...
He's the Ravenous Bailoff, they're like Lockstone Hierarch of our time.
Yeah, but I'm saying he's sort of the Baneslayer you're talking about there, you know. Maybe a more reasonably costed fatty that you can just put into play and beat down with.
I mean, nothing dominates a table like Baneslayer Angel.
Yeah.
But Obstinate Bailoff, like, what an excellent sideboard card to have against the guy who's trying to Raven's Crime you.
Yeah.
Like, Raven's Crime you. Okay, here's a 4/4 that I just paid no mana for. And got a card from you.
It's interesting. It looks like Mark drew another relic. I just don't know if it's going to be good enough.
Yeah, it doesn't really seem like he's done
He's
much.
just going to take a ton of damage here.
Yeah. I feel like he almost just should be using it to just draw a card.
Maybe. Because he's going to look. I mean, just next turn he takes 6, sacrifice the red cap. Go get Revelark, take 8.
I don't really know, but I don't know what his like long-term plan is. Like what? Because I'm pretty sure his deck probably does something cool.
Helix is the red cap.
Signing up Twisted Draft. Indestructible Booster Draft.
Oh, right. And then activates the relic in response to the red cap's trigger.
Modern Challenge. Winning free entry to Grand Prix Columbus and Grand Prix Philadelphia. That better print.
Oh, is that the Kobold land? From Time Spiral? I'm pretty sure it is.
Which one?
The one where you make 0/1 kobolds? Like
then you can you sack them? Or?
No, you just make 0/1 kobolds. You know what I'm talking about, right?
I do. It's like Care Keep, right?
Yeah.
Cast another red cap. Sack the red cap. Go get Revelark. Go get another Revelark is what he's thinking about. Yep. Go get another Revelark.
Into the air.
Yep. Deal with this and that's okay.
2 turns.
Yeah, you see Mark's been sitting on that engineered explosives forever. Doesn't seem like he has any way to get it to more than 3.
Yeah, which is unfortunate for him. I mean, if he get it to 4, it'd be pretty awesome.
Right.
Or would have been at this point.
It would have been, yeah, absolutely.
This type of point is all for naught.
Yep. And that is the game. Mark talking somewhat about the Revelark and going, nah, stupid Revelark.
I hate this Revelark.
Get a good look at Mark JUZA.
And saying to himself, you know that Jake Van Luna guy ruined his Magic career.
I'll get you too
someday.